Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and CA put out their trailer for Warhammer 2. Check it out. I'm going to play the reel and then we'll get back and analyze a whole bunch of the information online. So yeah, that was a freaking amazing trailer, really cool, sets the scene, and obviously showcases 3 of the revealed factions thus far. So we're going to have the High Elves, the Dark Elves, and the Lizardmen. Those in and of themselves are very exciting. The 4th one they haven't technically revealed, but I mean, if you look at the end of the trailer, there's literally a rat there, so Skaven is essentially going to be confirmed as the 4th. They're just holding off on it for potential hype reasons and a new trailer to reveal that probably in the future, it's a marketing trick. But yeah, definitely there's going to be 4 main factions. Let's go ahead and go at the Warhammer 2 FAQ. We'll do a separate video where we dive into the Steam details, which has a lot more information, but this is just going to be an overview. So starting from the top, basically CA says they're going to do a short QA/QC. Talking about, what is the game, what's going on. So they say, of course, this is Warhammer 2. It's the second in the trilogy. And basically there's going to be 4 main continents: Lustria, Ulthuan, Nagaroth, and the Southlands. The Southlands is something that was completely unexpected by the fans. They thought this was all going to be New World, and so Southlands adds a whole new mechanic to this. This is very interesting. And kind of the way it breaks down is Lustria is going to be for the Lizardmen, predominantly. Ulthuan is going to be for the High Elves. Nagaroth is going to be for the Dark Elves. And then Southlands then would seemingly have to be Skaven, which makes sense because that's kind of where Clan Pestilence is. So that is where your 4 main factions are going to be. And then the Grand Campaign has kind of a central mechanic, which is going to be the Great Vortex, which builds pace to culminate in a definitive and climactic endgame experience. So all of this, a big centralized campaign feature, and they'll get back to the Vortex down south. Let's go to the next point. How many races and lords can we expect? There are 4 playable races, each with 2 legendary lords for a total of 8 individual start positions. Mind you, they say individual start positions. That's freaking great. And they've decided to split up the factions, kind of like how they've been doing with the additional like Bloody Hands versus Greenskins and stuff like that, Clan Angrund, that they've done in the main Warhammer. We're going to see that. So High Elves are going to be split into 2, Skaven's going to be split into 2. So here again they say, oh, here are the 3 revealed ones and the 4th yet to be revealed one. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that the 4th is going to be Skaven. Each race is unique and will feel very different and play very differently from one another. Unique units, iconic characters, monsters, war machines, tactics. That's kind of standard fare. But then they've also said that there are separate campaign mechanics built around its backstory and the lore of fantasy battles. Now that's been true in the past, but it's going to be a little bit more true in this one because of the way this Vortex plays out in the game. So to go over this, so the lore behind the Great Vortex is it's a vast magical maelstrom that rolls above the Isle of the Dead in the center of Ulthuan, home continent of the High Elves. The Vortex was forged in a past age by convocation of High Elf mages to drain the winds of magic from the world and blast a huge demonic invasion back to the realm of chaos from whence it came. So basically this is going to be at the heart of the campaign, and you can kind of play 2 sides of it. So what they're saying here, each of the 4 races has its own objective regarding this. Some wish to heal the Great Vortex and prevent calamity. Others see opportunity in disrupting it. So obviously, High Elves are going to want to protect it. Dark Elves are going to want to destroy or disrupt it. And then the Skaven and the Lizardmen will have slightly different takes on it, although that isn't necessarily laid out here. Then they say the campaign is therefore a race for control of the Vortex, culminating in a cataclysmic series of endgame events. So kind of something similar to how Chaos was the endgame event for Warhammer 1, the Vortex, and perhaps even, you know, if it gets damaged enough, perhaps Chaos will start spawning out of it a greater demon. Maybe we'll see something like that in the end game, but that's kind of interesting. Pretty cool take on the campaign, how you're actually fighting over a position. They do reassure us that that's not the be-all, end-all of the campaign. So the race for the Vortex is important, but you can still, well, you still do your typical stuff: manage your empire, treat with and betray your allies, research attacks, blah blah blah. Do the traditional focus. Then they talk about how big is the total Warhammer 2 campaign map. So the Vortex map is roughly the same physical size in the first game as the map in the first game. Although they say there are approximately a third more conquerable land regions in the Warhammer 2 campaign than in Warhammer 1. These are spread across 4 continents separated by perilous seas. So again, they say 4 continents, we've gone over those. The new one, the Southlands, is one that we weren't expecting. And these are all going to be separated by different seas, which is pretty interesting because that begs the question, what's going to happen with naval combat? CA has previously said, and I'm pretty sure they confirmed, that they will not be able to do playable combat for naval battles, not because they can't, but because, well, not because they technically can't, but because I think legally they can't. And so I'm pretty sure all the naval battles are going to be auto-resolved, so that's going to be kind of interesting. So yeah, they mentioned that. What other new features can I expect? New gameplay features tied to the Vortex campaign, some of which will apply to the huge combined campaign. We'll talk about that later. Do I need the original game to play Warhammer 2? No, they say it's a standalone. So the trilogy, they get back to this. So previously what CA had said is each game is going to be standalone, but there's a version to combine all of them. And so this is what they're starting to announce. So with Warhammer 2, basically the way they're describing it is you have the original Warhammer 1 campaign, which is going to be the old world, the new one in Warhammer 2, which is essentially the new world and the Vortex, and then a new version that combines the two is going to be its own separate DLC. So this is going to be kind of a separate package called the Combined Campaign Map. This is offered for free, but you have to own both Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2. And this Combined Campaign Map is going to come out a little bit after the release of Warhammer 2. The reason it's not going to be released on the same day is because they have said that they want to be able to beta test it. And yeah, why won't the campaign be available at launch? They say they want to beta test it and work out a lot of kinks. So that's good. Definitely very important. Yeah, the rest of this, they say any free DLC or DLC that you've gotten previously will still apply and whatnot. So yeah, there you have it. Other stuff, is naval combat happening? Only in auto-resolve, so that confirms what I just discussed there. Although they do make a little caveat, there are some new sea-related campaign features that we will detail in the future. So I wonder what that is. Probably an effort to make the sea campaign come to life a bit more other than just auto-resolve, because that can be pretty boring and flat. So we'll see what that ends up doing. Maybe it's something about controlling trade networks or routes for your ships. Maybe you can even build stuff or lay traps or do ambushes. Or maybe there's certain stances for your fleet, so try and make them a bit more dynamic. Plans for multiplayer here. Each of the races for Total Warhammer 2 will be playable in single player and multiplayer, plus custom and MP battles, as 2 legendary lords for each race all have their own unique campaign start positions. You'll be able to play a 2-player co-op campaign as the same race. That's a big ask that people wanted for Warhammer 1, so glad to see it's in 2. Not much is said in multiplayer. They're obviously not going to be doing much more than they did in Warhammer 1, which is kind of okay, because with the implementation of the mod tools, it's still pretty exciting. It's still kind of fresh. I kind of hope they would have added a little bit more to this, like an army painter or some way to unlock kind of things like that for a true multiplayer experience, where the wins you get allows you to unlock, points, and you can invest those points in perhaps just non-gameplay affecting elements, but just ornamentals or different banners or flags or colors. I would have hoped they would have introduced something like that. Still to be heard if there's going to be an army painter or something along those lines. Overall, I don't see anything necessarily groundbreaking in all this, and I know they're going to have something like that. So wait for that second shoe to drop. When will this be released? Later in 2017, which is pretty cool. This year. That's freaking awesome. They'll announce the firm release date in due course. Will there be modding support? So as with Warhammer 1, they say they're going to have the same Steam Workshop and assembly kit very shortly after release. So all of that is really cool. That's it for this video. Very excited to see this. One of the big things that I think they announced here is the Southlands. No one was expecting that. That's freaking awesome. What that does imply is if they've gone ahead and carved out that region and it's going to be included in Total War Warhammer 2, then that opens up possibilities of what free LC and DLC will be. So in the Southlands, pretty sure you're going to have factions like the Tomb Kings and other stuff like that coming out of it. So that would be really cool. We weren't expecting Tomb Kings to be in Warhammer 2. People were thinking it was going to be somehow incorporated into 3. So man, that means it's going to be a huge mix of different factions. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more, and I will be coming out shortly with another video where we dive into the Steam page. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.